You started a business, a Porta cabin business, and you sold it for £200 million to a FTSE 100 company.
Yeah.
You know the moment you did the deal?
Yeah.
What emotions was going through your veins?
Well, the moment I agreed the deal was December 23rd, 2021. So we weren't looking to sell the business. We were looking to raise money. We'd come through COVID. We'd done what we wanted to do from a digital transformation, which was something we were always going to do. COVID, like a lot of businesses, accelerated the digitization piece. But cash flow got hit really hard because, like everyone, we couldn't supply. And even when we opened up, there was a supply crisis. So we were selling, but the lead times were long. And we wanted to kind of scale and kind of grow the business to what we positioned as the Amazon of new vehicles. And we'd worked with Auto Trader on a project before. I knew a lot about the Auto Trader business. I was an early adopter of Auto Trader, which is what convinced me to start the business in the first place. I knew how to sell online. And I knew the potential if we could get involved with them on a deeper level. So I asked our advisors to reach out to them to see if they were interested in investing. I sent an email to them on November the 16th, 2021, to the CEO. And on the very day I messaged him, they just happened to be in a room talking about us as an acquisition target. So that was serendipitous. And they came in to see us, I think, end of November, and we agreed a deal on December 23rd. And even though the advisor was saying that you and Nathan should probably stay away from the negotiations, as can happen generally when you get the main person talking to the main person, the noise can get taken care of, and what's really important can be focused on. And I was in my kitchen at home, preparing for Christmas Eve and kids coming and things like that. And long story short, we were talking around price. I had external investors who had an expectation of valuation, etc. They had a lower idea of price, I had a higher idea of price, and we agreed a deal. And I was on the phone with my wife in the kitchen, and we put the phone down and we're doing it. And then there was a bit of a jig and a dance around the kitchen. I called my investors, called my top team, and we exchanged contracts 3 months later on March the 22nd. But from December 23rd to March the 22nd, I can't remember a thing. But it was, well, I can remember the DD process, because we hadn't gone into the process looking to sell, but once we knew the potential, and we got to meet the people at Auto Trader and understand what they were thinking, and we were very like-minded, but from a cultural perspective and what they saw with the market and the future of automotive retailing, we were all very excited. We thought this was, we either do it with them or against them. And we thought it much better to do it with them, apart from everything else being aligned. But we had the whole DD process started early January, probably about January the 8th, and they had 5 different consultancies helping them from different things like regulatory and blah blah blah. It was just meeting after meeting. I think in the end there was 120,000 pages in the virtual data room. When I did our first investment, it was 7,000. So it was much deeper. Big deal for them. Obviously, they're a listed business. They want to do deep due diligence. And the more time went on, the more I wanted to do the deal. Of course, what it did for me personally, but what it meant for the business as well. And then about a month before the deal was due to be completed, Ukraine kicked off. And we thought, oh, okay, this could change things. This may not happen. It wouldn't be surprising if they rang up and said that we're going to have to put a foot in the ball, see how this plays out. And my wife and kids will tell you that Christmas Day. I was there, but I wasn't present. And that was the same for pretty much every meal. I couldn't read a book. I couldn't watch TV. It was just, that was all that was on my mind, because the potential for it was just so huge. And the risk of it then dropping out, we just didn't want to think about. But thankfully got through it. And yeah, it was an interesting period.
What were the keys? If you were offering people advice that are going through that process now, you got that over the line in the end.
Yeah.
So it took from December 23rd to March the 22nd.
Yeah.
You can't even remember a thing, you know. Yeah. So I get it. I'm very emotional as you're telling the story. What were the keys to getting that over the line, but specifically for people that are going to go through that themselves?
Well, I mentioned build to be bought. So that was a philosophy I took with the business from the early days, from kind of 2011, 2012, after I had that conversation with that guy. And if you look at the steps that are needed to be put in place for a business to be bought successfully or to be invested in successfully, because that whole philosophy of build to be bought may be appropriate for someone who never wants to sell but would like to retire and still have the business produce an income and be long lasting long after they've gone. There's a really interesting stat that 75% of business owners over 50 haven't got a succession plan or a plan to exit. They think about it too late, and invariably the business just closes because they try and sell it too late, and whoever's looking at it will say, well, you haven't really got a business because you're too important. Without you, the business doesn't exist. But if you look at what you need to do to make it a business that could be bought, it's about making sure your kind of business will survive without you. So making yourself redundant, making sure that the business can survive without you there, whether it's a long-term holiday, illness, or when you pass. It's making sure that the rigor's there from a financial standpoint. I always, in my early days, I had a VAT inspection because I was late with my VAT return. Not by much, but it's typical when you're early, the VAT man will come. And it was the worst experience of my life because I felt vulnerable and exposed. And I hated the thought of them finding a problem. They didn't. I just got a little bit of a penalty for being late. But from that day, I thought, I'm never going to let that happen again. So even simple things that most people think, well, that's just standard. You'd be amazed how many businesses wouldn't stand up to DD or an inspection because they're sloppy. Or they put things through their business that perhaps investors wouldn't like, which may be fine if you're not going to raise money, like you're paying your family or you're putting expenses through, etc. As long as you're paying your tax, all fine. But investors don't like that sort of stuff. We were in quite a highly regulated business because we were selling leasing to consumers. When that came into our sector in 2016, the regulators had teeth. They could decide whether your business could operate or they could shut it down. And we did things so well, and we used the regulatory governance and financial governance almost to a USP, which we always said to customers, this is what we do and this is why we do it. And if the regulators came in for an inspection, I want to be in a place where I could say, grab a seat, tell us what you want. And when it came to things like DD, whether it was the investment round in 2017, the later one in 2019, or Auto Trader, I knew they wouldn't find anything bad. They might find things they would do differently. They might find things that they want to understand a bit more, but they wouldn't find anything that we'd done wrong.
That's a big confidence booster, isn't it? The fact that you can say that proudly out loud as well.
Oh, definitely. The last thing you want is, particularly when you're raising money, is because raising money takes a lot of time. You've got to kiss a lot of frogs. It takes the business a long time. The last thing you want is for it to fall down because you've been doing things wrong. Now, it could be you're doing things deliberately wrong.
How did you go about raising money the first instance in 2017? How did you approach that? What led to the getting that? Close your eyes. Imagine selling your business for £200 million. Because someone out there right now wants to buy your future business. Andy Alderson is going to share with you how he started a business from a Porta cabin and sold it to a FTSE 100 business for £200 million. He made some big mistakes in his personal life, and sadly, money cannot change those mistakes. Though Right now, he has changed. He's now a level 5 leader, and he's going to be sharing every single crucial step in building a business that somebody wants to buy. A match made in heaven between Vanarama and Ryan Reynolds. Make sure that you're following us to keep up to date with each new episode, and download this podcast so that you can stop and start wherever you are. Let's do this.